super cold and windy out there today. Well, at least as cold and windy as it can get down here in Florida. But it's the perfect day to go through one of the newish features that they have on the Techdisc, and that's the ability to save predetermined discs inside of the simulator. So in a previous video, we went over the fact that your single Techdisc, even though it's just one mold, can be multiple different discs by changing the flight numbers. Today we're going to talk about how you can preload discs that you throw often so that you don't have to go and manually adjust the flight numbers in between every throw. You can just pick the disc that you want to throw. One thing I did want to point out, this is only for the stroke play simulator at this point. It's not for the standard simulator. So these discs that we're going to create only come up when you're inside stroke play. We'll go ahead and jump in and show you how it works. So we're going to go ahead and jump out of the simulator for a second here, and we're going to go to the menu at the top, and we're going to scroll down until we see discs. So once we click on that, it gives us all of our preloaded discs. It has them sorted by the type of disc that they are. So here you see I have a wizard created as my putter, an A1 there from Prodigy. I made a rock, a wraith, and a boss, and it has them sorted by type of disc. So let's go ahead and create a new disc right now. We're going to hit this add disc button here, and we're going to create, let's do a fairway. Okay, so first thing it does is it gives you the option to pick the different speeds that you want it to be. Since we're doing a fairway, we're going to go right in somewhere at 9, and I'm going to do a glide of 5 and a turn of -2. So I talked a little bit in the last video about how I felt like the flight numbers were actually pretty accurate. And since I shot that video and they've created this ability to add discs, one thing that sort of jumps out at me as I created a bunch of discs that I really enjoy throwing is that the flight numbers don't really act as accurately as I would have hoped they do. So they act accurately in terms of the fact that, you know, if you add turn to a disc, right, it does what you think it's going to do. But if you program these discs exactly the way that your discs actually, or you think your discs actually should be, you're going to end up with discs that don't fly anything like what you want them to. And we'll go into one of the ones I created already, the wizard, and show you sort of the details of that. But for this one, I'm going to set it up the way I feel like it should fly. So I'm actually creating, let's say, an FD from Discmania, and I went with 9, 5, -2 for the turn, because I think that's going to give me the most realistic flight to an FD, not necessarily because it's the actual numbers for an FD, if that makes sense. So once we've picked our numbers, I'm going to hit next. It gives you the option to say what class it is. We're doing a fairway. You can say if it's a new disc or if it's field season or field tested, seasoned, or worn. One of the things it says here is that these choices don't actually affect the flight of the disc. It's just based off of those flight numbers. These choices are more so it looks different when you're selecting it. Okay, so from there you can choose if the flight plate is puddle, flat, or domey. I'm going to say this is a flat FD. It gives you the option to choose who actually manufactured it. So I said we're going to do an FD, so I'm going to put Discmania. We're going to pick a new FD, and then it gives us plastic choices. I'm going to make it an S-line FD. It also gives you the option to give this disc a nickname. So I'm going to go ahead and call it just FD. You know, you can call it FD new or pretty much anything to make sure you understand which disc it is. And then it also gives you the option to change the color of your disc. I'm going to make this one red, and I'm going to hit next. So it gives you a review of what that disc is. I'm going to hit finish. And there you see the new disc that we created. So now I thought it would be a good opportunity to jump back into what I was talking about the flight numbers and how the disc actually flies. So here's the wizard that I created earlier. And you'll see right now I have it at 4, 4, and -2. which isn't anything like what the wizard's actual flight numbers are. I think it's something like 220. And when you create it that way, it ends up hyzering out really easily when you're putting. It really doesn't fly anything like what a wizard would fly like. So you really have to make these numbers what you want the disc to fly like inside the simulator, as opposed to what the actual flight numbers are. So just sort of food for thought on that one. And now let's show how you can actually select these discs inside of stroke play. So if we go back to the menu, we'll choose stroke play, and that's going to load up here. We're going to select the island party, and we're going to do a new session. All right, now that that's loaded, I can make that full screen for you guys. And you can see down here, this is the discs that we have created. You can use the up or down arrow to select one of them. I am going to pick the boss for this hole. So now the disc has switched over to the boss, and I'm going to give it a throw real quick. We're in practice mode, so we get quite a few throws at the basket like this, and I'll just show you the different discs that we have available. All right, there we go. That's going to be way short, really bad throw. But now I can switch my disc, and we can go ahead and say, let's do the Wraith. Looks like that's turning over. Safe, but definitely not on the island. So you see, you can just easily switch between different discs as you're playing. One other thing that you can end up doing is within here you can quickly make a custom disc. So let's say I'm not happy with how this Wraith is flying while I'm in here doing a stroke play event. I can just go ahead and change this number, and it's going to create a custom disc that will then be available for the rest of the session. Turn that one over a lot too. So I'm not throwing these discs very well today, but that's a really great example of how you can go ahead and switch the discs. What I'm going to do now is play through the hole so you can see how I'll select the different discs as I finish out the hole. So I'll go ahead and hit exit practice mode, and we'll play this hole out. All right, so there I threw my custom disc. It's going a lot better than I had been throwing it. And it's out of bounds, just a little bit short. So moves us over to the drop zone. I can quickly switch to my putter. I'm gonna go with the wizard. And now we'll exit practice mode and give that throw. All right, we ran it a little bit long. We're inside the circle, 21 feet to go. It switched us to the A1. I'm gonna go back to the wizard. Exit practice mode, we'll give this a putt. Over the top. I probably should have done it in practice mode again. And that's gonna be a gimme. But that's how you play a hole with selecting pre-created discs. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.